So we're Mr Belt Wezol. We've been in the work field for around 9 years, and I think we've seen every aspect of the field. We've negotiated contracts, we make our own music, we organize our own events, we booked other DJs, we've been in legal battles, and today we're gonna summarize those 9 years of experience in a neat little presentation called Things We Wish We Knew When We Started Out in the Music Business.
And I think it's good to say, firstly, that we still learn every day. The algorithm changes, social media changes, the music trends change as well. So first of all, we want to introduce you guys to Bob. This is Bob. Bob wants to be a DJ producer as well. And today we start out with a blank page and we're going to fill it up with knowledge.
Yes, so let's start. The very first question I want to ask you guys is, what do you really want? Because nowadays on social media, you see all the highlights, right? You see the big DJs performing on the biggest stages, you know, all the social media attention, all the fame. But if you like that, if you only like the outcome of being a producer, DJ, you're not going to make it into the field, because the core of the job is to spend thousands of hours in a studio working on your music production skills. That's the core of the job. Performing on big stages, that's just the outcome, you know? You're not gonna be there instantly. And it's also not that, like you only have to do that at the beginning of your DJ producer career. No, it's constant. Every new track, you have to reinvent yourself, spend those hours in the studio, and then maybe, if your music is good enough, you'll see that outcome. So go check with yourself. Do I do this for the right reasons? Because if you're going to spend a lot of hours doing something you don't love, creating music in a dark studio without any friends, you're going to have a really bad time. And let's fill out Bob with his knowledge. Bob knows absolutely nothing. He's a blank page. But he now knows that he needs to have the right intentions before he starts his DJ producer act. So now let's talk about basic economics for a bit, and this might be a little bit of a throwback to high school economics class for you guys, but we all live in a so-called capitalist society, and that means that anyone in this room can start anything, a business, organize an event, and then they hope that they can make a profit from that. That's what capitalism is. So that sounds very dry and as if there's no passion in it, but it's also a harsh reality and something that you, as a beginning DJ act, need to become part of if you want to actually succeed in this work field. So if we try to bring this vagueness up to the surface a little bit, let's tell a story. So let's say Barry wants to organize an event. He's going to invest some of his own money in it, and he hopes that he'll get his investment back or maybe even make a little profit on top. So he wants to organize a dance event, right? So he might want to book a DJ. So do you guys think that he'll book a DJ that has a very big social media following? Yeah, maybe. Does he book a DJ that has a lot of streams on Spotify? Yeah, maybe as well. But what I think Barry will book in the end is a DJ that will bring him his investment back. So if we go to the process, Barry books a DJ. People then buy tickets for that DJ. Barry makes a profit and Barry is happy in the end. So is your goal to have a lot of followers on social media? It helps. Is your goal to have a lot of streams on Spotify? Yes, that helps as well. But in the end, if you want to perform as a DJ, your goal is selling tickets, because that's the only way you're going to get a promoter his investment back. So that's your goal. And if you look at our numbers, we have quite the numbers. I mean, they're okay, right? And colleagues of ours have way higher numbers. They have insane numbers. But do they get booked? No. Why not? Because they don't sell tickets. It's that easy.
And another big part of selling tickets is having a unique selling point. And it doesn't have to be something very hard. It can be something like being the best DJ around. It can be being the best house producer out there. It can be making the best mashups. It can be all sorts of things. And actually, do we have the cube right over here? Sweet. Might be fun to throw this cube around and ask for USP of famous producers, famous DJs. Let's start out with ourselves first. So I'm going to throw the cube right over there. Sweet. What do you think that the Mr Belt Wezol USP is?
Maybe like the way you guys act on sets, on streams, Slam, your own YouTube channel.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You being yourself.
See that as a USP as well. Yeah.
Good job.
So maybe let's go for other producers. What's the USP of James Hype? Oh,
Yeah, that's a good one. He started like with much live streams, so probably YouTube live streaming.
live streams. I would say his DJ skills.
DJ skills, of course.
Biggest one, I think.
Yeah. So, what about
Noisia. Does anybody knows Noisia over here? There you go.
Well, they were the first who, not the first, but they really made drum and bass great. And they took it to another level.
yes?
And that's their selling point, I'd say.
Exactly what it is. Yeah.
Dylan Francis.
You can show this one.
Dylan Francis. Dylan Francis. Yes, you.
What did you say?
Dylan Francis.
I don't know it.
You know? Oh.
Oh,
Sorry.
Good, unique selling point.
Anyone who knows Dylan Francis? Dylan Francis?
Yeah, so Dylan Francis is all about the jokes because he's a really funny person, and I think that's his unique selling proposition.
Totally agree. I think so as well. He's the funny guy, the ultimate funny guy in the scene.
Always funny.
I think, right? That's
yeah, sweet. So last but not least, for the unique selling points, it doesn't have to be something hard. It doesn't have to be a 5 to 10 year plan. It can be something simple as well. So we now know Bob has the right intentions. And we also know Bob knows about the basic economics of the dance industry.
So the next thing we wanna talk about is follow your passion, but keep reality in mind. So whenever you're gonna go to a talk of a DJ act, professional DJ act, they're always gonna say, follow your passion, else you're not gonna make it. And that's definitely true. But what's also true is that the chances of you following your passion 100% in the studio and that passion filling a gap in the market, those chances are super small. So what I mean with keep reality in mind, that's, let's say, for example, your passion is to create speedcore. Speedcore, it's a niche genre, it exists, people listen to it, but is it commercially viable? Maybe it's not. So maybe keep reality in mind and shift a bit towards hardcore. You know, still pretty niche, but the listeners group is way bigger already. And in this regard, the boundary between setting out and following your passion, that's different for everyone. So you have to make up your mind yourself for that. So if we fill out or we fill Bob with this new knowledge, we know Bob has the right intentions. He keeps basic economics in mind, but he also keeps reality in mind. You know, he knows that his chances of creating ambient darkcore are very small, and maybe he has to shift a little bit to be commercially viable. There's a reason that this, we just listened to the talk from Susanne. There's a reason that this is the tagline of Spinnin Records. And yeah, it all starts with good music. You know, today, especially with TikTok, you can go viral overnight. You know, you can have this video. We heard it with the Own Balls track. You can go viral overnight. And you can wonder, maybe it's not that necessary. You know, you just need to have a very strong social media presence. That's all true, but it all starts with good music. When you want to make it as an act, a DJ act, that should be your #1 priority, because that's something your potential audience will latch onto. And not just your potential audience, but also companies, music labels, publishers, managers, anyone. They need something to sell. Again, basic economics. So this might be a little bit of an open door, but it needs to be said, I think. Your #1 priority should be to create good music. Again, Bob, right intentions, basic economics, and reality in mind. But he also knows his #1 priority should be to create good music.
We often see producers and DJs wait until they have the most expensive gear, a soundproof studio, the most expensive studio speakers, but that's all not needed. You can do it with a laptop and headphones in your bedroom as well. Same goes for social media. You don't need a social media manager. You don't need a camera crew following you around during touring. You can do it all yourself with a simple video in the studio and go viral overnight. Same goes for the manager. We see a lot of beginning DJs and producers wait for the golden ticket, the golden manager or bookings agent that will help them to get a filled out agenda, releases, collabs. But especially at the beginning, it's nice to do this yourself to learn the process. And you can learn a lot about that. Experience it yourself. You will notice when you need any of the above. If your head is all over the bookings, the contracts, you'll notice that. And that's probably the moment to get a booker, get a manager, get a social media manager. So let's fill in Bob once again. Bob has the right intentions, basic economics, keeps reality in mind, and has the right music. And now he has a laptop and a social media phone, and he knows he doesn't need a manager to make it big in the music business.
So what to do with inspiration? Personally, I don't like the word inspiration. I think it's a vague term and it means something different for everyone. But what's true about inspiration is that we are constantly inspired by everything around us that's mildly interesting. And just know that every producer you look up to, every producer who made it big was once also inspired by other producers. So what I'm meaning to say with that is that you shouldn't paralyze yourself with thoughts like, oh, I really have to create my own unique sounds, or I shouldn't do this because that sounds too much like that, you know. Don't paralyze yourself with that kind of stuff. Don't be afraid to take a track that you like, throw it into your DAW, and analyze that, try to recreate it, because often the way you produce music is so much different than the producer the track you're checking out is, that the track that you're making is completely different already. Of course, don't outright steal it, but also don't be afraid to be inspired by it, you know. We're doing an art. Making music is an art, you know, with painters, everyone is inspired by, all the painters are inspired by other painters as well. It's normal. So, one tip in that regard is, if you do get inspired, if you've seen a Netflix series or you read a nice newspaper article or your mom said something inspiring, I don't know, make sure that you can work quick. So for me, I do that with this template. So this is my template. I work in FL Studio. The only thing I have is a standard dance music pattern with good quality samples, so I can immediately draw in MIDI information. You know, I can immediately draw down my idea. The standard arrangement is there as well, so for me this really works. You know, the moment I get an idea, I can instantly draw it down and go do something else. You know, so make a template. Again, let's fill up Bob with this new knowledge. He has the right intentions. He keeps basic economics and reality in mind. He has his #1 focus, making music, and he knows he doesn't need anyone else to make it into the scene, especially as a beginning producer. And now he knows it's okay to be inspired by other producers and use that in his own process. Another tip in that regard would be to start big and end small. So all you guys, you're going to compete with producers that have been in the game for a much longer time than you guys, often more than 10 years. You got to compete with those guys. That's an uneven playing field. So you got to try and level that out a bit. The way you do that, in my opinion, is to start with a lot of ideas and then pick out the golden idea out of there. So my process, you know, we all make EDM probably, and with EDM, the most important thing, of course, is the drop. So what I do is I actually start with a break or a build-up. I work up towards that drop, and when the actual drop needs to be produced, I create up to 30 ideas. I create 30 ideas, I step back from the project, I go to sleep, whatever, take some time off, I return to the project and I check out all those 30 ideas and then pick the golden idea from that. Because the chances of you landing your very first idea and it being a golden idea, it's resulting in a good track that's competitive on this market, compared to all those producers that have far more experience than you, that's just a very small chance. So I would say up your chances, start big and end small. And you know, the other ideas, the 29 ideas you're not using, you don't have to throw them away or something, you know, you can just bounce them to audio, use the MIDI in some other projects. So it's not like it's lost time, you know, you just want to up your chances. So again, let's fill out Bob. It's becoming pretty much, it's a mess already. Right intentions, he keeps basic economics and reality in mind. He knows that making music should be his #1 priority. He can do everything himself. It's okay to be inspired by other producers. And he knows to start big and end small in terms of ideas.
Some other useful tips that might come in handy, especially at the beginning of your career, are firstly, organize your own events. We did this 9 years ago.
Okay, photo's not loading.
Photo is gone, doesn't matter. We organized our own events 19 years ago. It was called Gekkigheid, and we booked ourselves from the beginning until the end. And in that way, we learned how to open a venue, how to do a peak time DJ set, and of course, how to close down a venue as well. And also how to organize your own events. The second thing, and you've probably heard it 1,000 times already, but wear earplugs. Your ears are the most important body part you have in the DJ and producing industry. So buy custom earplugs. And there's actually a guy, a DJ, a pretty big DJ in the Netherlands who is stopping this year because of his ears, because the beep is too hard, because the pain is too much. So keep that in mind. Last useful tip.
Another photo.
Another slide not working. It was a photo of us recording the first ever Mr Belt Wezol room. And this is actually very handy when you have a DJ set online on YouTube, where you show your stage performance, where you show your track selection, so that a promoter knows what you do. And we actually started small with the Mr Belt Wezol rooms, and 2 years ago in the summer, we ended up with doing a DJ set in a hot air balloon. Something small can evolve in something big over the years. Okay, let's fill out Bob again. Bob has the right intentions. He keeps basic economics in mind. He doesn't need a manager. He has his inspiration. Ideas are flowing. Music is there. And now he knows how to organize his own events, how to play a startup set, a peak time set, and an end set. He owns his own custom earplugs. And last but not least, he has a DJ set online on YouTube, so the promoters will know how he plays.
Okay, guys, get ready for disappointments, because you can do everything right in the scene. You can spend 1,000 hours on a track. Okay, well, that's a bit long, but you can spend a lot of hours on a track, send it to a label, and the label will say, nope, not for us. I don't like it. It's a bad song. Or they don't reply at all. That still happens to me to this day. So not only in the music department, but also in terms of promoters, you know, you played a gig and they don't want to hire you for a next gig. They didn't like your set. Another disappointment. But also your fan base, you know. Where's the old Mr Belt Wezol? Ooh, I like the old groovy tunes more. That's all disappointment. Get ready for that, because it happens a lot in the music business.
And you'll also find yourself on social media seeing other artists doing bigger shows, getting more likes, getting more followers, and that can feel quite overwhelming sometimes.
Yes.
So yeah, keep that in mind and focus on your own journey, not somebody else's.
And guys, look around you. All these people want to get into the business as well. Maybe as much as you, maybe even more. And there's not that many spots. So consider you not making it. You know, that's a real possibility. Okay, Bob has learned a lot of things. I'm definitely not going to go through all of them, but he now knows that he's going to see some disappointments in his career.
And yeah, this all sounds very negative, but we can assure you you're gonna enjoy the journey for sure. And there's no highs without lows, but the highs are pretty damn high in this business. So enjoy it. That's it. Questions?
Wow. Wow, guys, that was like most inspiration I saw since a lot of time. But yeah, the main question is, what were you guys wish you knew when you all started this? Because now you have the experience. What were the first setbacks you guys had in the beginning?
The first setbacks were, well, for any producer, I think, your music not getting noticed anywhere, you know. And for us, we actually started out with free downloads. Back when SoundCloud was still a really big thing. Now it's a bit small, yeah, it became smaller. But we did, I think, 10 free downloads before we released our first track. So, and that really worked for us. But it was a different time, you know, blogs were still a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Hype was still...
Hives. Yeah, you know that one, Hives?
Hive.
MySpace.
Hive was also...
MySpace.
So, then, yeah, the work field changed a little bit, but that was our progress, or our process. And yeah, our first release was with a really small UK label. And the amount of no's we had to process before it came to that was, yeah, pretty insane.
All right. Before I go to the questions, I hear there's like something going on with you guys right now. Spinnin Records, demos, demo drives. CUPRA, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we actually are, we're bringing back Demo Ride. We did this 8 years ago, I think.
I love it.
Where we gave feedback on demos from beginning producers and DJs. And in a few months, we're doing one in a brand new CUPRA. And you can all join in there by clicking on the link in our bio, I think.
Yep, it's there.
So, yeah, we're bringing it back.
I think the signups are already open, right? They can send it in for you guys.
Yeah.
All right, great. Any questions for the guys? All right.
Okay, thank you. What was your biggest disappointment?
The mustache, or not? Sorry.
Biggest disappointment, wow. You know what always sucks if you created a track which you're really excited about and it gets signed, so everything is going well, and then it comes online, you know, everyone can enjoy it, and it just doesn't seem to do anything.
Yeah.
You know, we had that with a couple of tracks, and we just couldn't understand it, why it didn't work, because for us, it was a good track, you know, it worked.
Ticked all the boxes.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, with that kind of stuff, it's always, the market is so much different right now, you know, you're kind of almost like a slave to the algorithm, you know, and sometimes it's just that your music doesn't tick the boxes of the algorithm, and that can be really disappointing.
Yeah. Especially when you work towards a track for 2 months.
Exactly.
Make a music video.
Yeah.
Think
Wrote a
about a
whole
marketing plan.
Yeah. So it's not like a precise answer, but it's more of a broad thing. It's still when you're working on the professional level, that kind of disappointments still happen.
Oh, lekker gehad.
So you said, like, you mentioned a lot of things about disappointments and all the hard stuff that you're going through as a producer and heavy environment. But what kept you going in the first place? Like, what's the feeling when you get up in the morning and you be like, okay, I'm gonna go on with this path and just like keep making music?
Yeah. Well, exactly. It was like the very first point of the presentation. It doesn't matter how many disappointments you face, because if you love doing the core of the job, if you actually love producing music, that doesn't matter. You know, that's what we mean with the little smiley face with this guy. You know, you're gonna cry because of all the disappointments, but you're also gonna be happy about it. You know, because you still do what you love. You know, and that's what keeps you going, I guess, because, you know, even if you get a no from a label, even if your mom says she doesn't like the track, you still enjoy doing the production work, you know, you still love being in the studio. So the disappointments, they're all vain in the end. So Yeah.
I have a question in the line of that question. You're with two guys, so you have support from each other as well.
Yeah.
I think is it different than if you're alone? Like you guys can talk to each other. I would go like, yeah, you can pump each other up. Alone is like different. Who you're going to talk to? Who understands your creative process? You know, that's. Yeah. Do you think you have like easier because you're a duo, or?
Definitely.
Yep. Yeah, we can talk with each other every day. And like you said, we understand each other. When you're on your own and you talk with your friends and they're not in the scene, they'll probably don't understand the struggles and the disappointment.
Yeah. So is that also a tip maybe for everybody to get a mentor or get somebody who understands the music scene, which you can like discuss with or leave your feelings with?
Definitely, I will do that. We see with our DJ colleagues that are just one single person, they often have like a tour manager that comes along with their gigs just to have company.
Yeah.
You know, because also when touring, the core of the job is traveling a lot. You know, you're more traveling than actually doing the performance. So actually having an extra ear, someone you enjoy the company of, is a great help. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Any more questions, guys? Well, Mr. Cooper.
Of course.
There you go.
Yeah, just about the mentoring thing. One thing that we see a lot nowadays is that, especially on social media, and you guys are also very active on social media, there's a lot of negativity. People are tearing other people down. And I see a lot of young people here. How can you, for instance, protect yourself from all the negativity that's online? For instance, when you release a track, when people say your music sucks, your act sucks, all that kind of stuff, how can you build up a shield, especially when you're young and still in the process of becoming an adult?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
I actually think for us it's not that bad right now. We almost never get comments about our looks or DJ act or something like that.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll manage. You know, it's a tough business. That's true. Absolutely.
But also like be proud of what your own creative process,
That
what
helps.
you made. You know,
That helps.
I think you have to build up for me as well. You know, I had like the same experience. I started off in a small club somewhere in Harlem and ended up doing everything around the world, I imagine. But I got a lot of bashes because I didn't have a clothing sponsor or, you know, I wasn't the most pretty one. But I always believed in my own intentions. And I think as long as you have that and you can wake up and look in the mirror and be proud of what you do, we're still standing here. But yeah, it's like a creative process. I think I agree with that.
A lot of so when someone says something that's not nice to you online, it feeds into an insecurity, right? And if we go back to the passion story I told, as long as you're pretty close to actually doing your passion, that'll break through that negativity. But if you somehow in your head already have the seed planted of I sold out a bit, I did something to be commercially viable, then a comment like, oh, you guys really sold out, then that really hits home, you know, because you know there's some source of truth to it. But if you follow your passion, then you'll break through that stuff because you know inherently that it's not true. So I think shielding yourself in that regard is staying true to yourself.
Yeah, just a small story. I think Headhunters is a good example of that. You know, at one point he wanted to go like on a different route. He went to like EDM side. And then the whole hardstyle scene went bashing on him like, oh, you sell out, blah, blah, blah. And I think in the end he switched again back to hardstyle because actually it was his original passion, but he wanted to go for the big money, to be honest. But then he just like, everybody went like, oh, he's back. You know, it's like, so that's how the scene works. You know, it's like different. People will always have an opinion, you know, good, bad, or whatever. But as long as you stay true to what you do and what you believe in, I think you will survive anyway. Any more questions? Let's end with something happy. My question, lady. Oh, you have a nice question, right? No? Okay, give it back.
So I had a question related to his question about the benefits of being a duo, but more on the downsides of being a duo. Did you ever have any like difficulties booking gigs at the beginning because of being a duo. So because then venues would have to pay like a bigger fee or like pay for the transport of two or something like that. So,
Nope.
no.
No, never. No, because you know the bookings agent is setting the act. It's not like they're setting us as two singular persons.
Yeah.
So, nope. Because you guys are a duo, or
A friend of mine has a duo, and she has issues booking gigs
Okay.
for the duo instead of for her. Like for her, it's easier. So
yeah. All right. Yeah, not a problem for us.
Nope.
It hasn't been.
thanks.
Any more?
There was one here.
Here? All right. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Ooh, almost as high.
Yeah, you mentioned that you sometimes made songs and then you thought, oh, that's like a perfect song, and then it didn't break through. What is like the song that you're currently most proud of? I was wondering that.
That came out.
Yeah, that came out. Yeah, or didn't come out, but then I wouldn't know
Yeah,
what
exactly.
kind of song you're talking about.
I think that would still be like one of the first tracks we released. It's Homeless.
Yep.
We still play that. So that track is 8 years old. We still play it to this day in our sets. At every set, it's always the highlight. It does well on streaming, and you know that for me that track is like it sparked our career as Mr Belt Wezol.
It did.
And the fact that we're still playing it out to this day means that we still are staying true to what we once thought of when starting the Mr Belt Wezol DJ act. So I would say that that's probably the track I'm most proud of. Yeah.
All right, great. Guys, we're going to end it up. First of all, I want to say, damn, I love the presentation. What time is Bob coming? Thanks, guys, for giving you the insight of how you guys work and how you see or how you look at the music scene. Thank you so much. I think a lot of great stuff with CUPRA is coming up. Again, thank you again, and let's have fun. Ladies and gentlemen, we have drinks for you ready. Bites, please stay around. You can ask the boys any questions, and all the other speakers are still here. I unfortunately have to go, but you will see me somewhere else. That's no worries. My name was MC Haits. It was an honor to work with you guys. Thank you so much. Hope you have a great day. Thanks, guys. Mr. Belt Wezol.